Well, hello once again. This is me, Leonard Wells, broadcasting as usual from Haslingden, north of Manchester in the UK. And today is Saturday, the 8th of May 2010. 2 days ago we had our general election. We have them on a Thursday in the UK. Nobody knows quite why, because most people are working during the day. So they've only got a few hours in the evening to squeeze into going to the polling booth. And as happened on this occasion, a lot of them found there was a long queue and they weren't able to vote. It's an absolute scandal. Why don't we have it on a Sunday? I mean, we have crazy laws in this country, you know. I mean, just look at the Sunday trading laws. Well, depending on the size of the shop, you can only open certain hours. I mean, nothing is crazier than that. Anyway, let's get back to the subject. In this country, there are two main political parties, Labour and Conservative. Labour basically represents the poor, and Conservative basically represents the rich. Never the twain shall meet, because one is left and one is right, in a political sense. And since the war, either one party, Labour, or the other party, Conservative, have gained power. So we've gone from left to right instead of going straight. Instead of all going together, we've pulled one direction, pulled the other. Now, why should the views of one section of the community be foisted upon all the people of the community when that's not what they want? Democratically, that is wrong, if you think about it. Now, just to give you an example, in all but one of the constituencies in this election, because one candidate died in one place, so they stopped the process. So in all the other constituencies, bar that one, the total number of votes cast came to 29,653,638. Out of those, the Conservatives gained 10,706,647. Approximately 1/3 of the total votes cast. And yet, they ended up with the largest number of seats in Parliament. So our voting system gave the majority of seats in Parliament to 1/3 of the population. Does that make any sense to you? Well, it can only make sense with a first-past-the-post system like ours, where there are more than two candidates per constituency. The Labour Party got 8,604,358. Not a lot less, but nevertheless, they got nearly 100 less MPs. The Liberal Party got 6,827,938 votes. They only got 50-something MPs, 57 or 8, I think. Now, there's no logic to any of this. At the moment, we have what's called a hung parliament, because not one single party has gained enough votes to outvote all the others if they decided to bring it down, and that could happen tomorrow at the Queen's speech, whenever. So the Liberals, which is basically the only party who want proper proportional representation, although there are some in the Labour Party who agree with it, is talking to the Conservative Party about the possibility of an alliance. So, even together, they will have something like 17 million votes out of 29 million votes. And they will be governing the country. So we're still not really, in any sense, representative, but we're getting slowly better. Actually, what ought to happen is that if we had a proper proportional system, the House of Commons would reflect all the views of all 29 million people, with possible exceptions. For example, if there was only one independent candidate in the whole country and he lost, then his votes would not count for very much. So what I'm suggesting is that no matter which way we go, it isn't really a fair, just and proper democratic system, and we ought to change it. Because no matter what the difficulties, the views of the population are not reflected. Whoever joins with whoever at the present moment does not reflect the way we voted. And only when we have a House of Commons reflecting the way we voted will every person in this country feel good about our political system. Because we're tired. We've had it up to here with a small, small section of the population deciding where we're going to go. The Tories don't want PR because they know that they'll never ever be able to voice their views upon the rest of us again. They don't like Europe. They don't want ID cards. They're anti-immigration. And God knows what else, if you'll forgive me for saying so. The Labour Party, well, on the whole, they haven't done too badly. They've pulled us through a very, very difficult situation with the financial crisis. And I trust them a little bit more than I trust the Conservatives. So, think about it. It isn't going to be long, whichever way we decide to go, before we have another general election. Because I believe in my bones that if the Liberal Party decides to go with the Conservative Party, they will rue the day. And it won't be long before they realise that they've had the wool pulled over their eyes. And then it will be too late. And if we have another election using the first past the post system, we'll be back in another unrepresentative situation. So in God's name, while it's still permitted to say, and it's still legal to say in God's name, please, 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 let's come to the right decision and have PR. Then we can face any difficulties together, not divided. Thank you and good night and God bless.